right, let's take a look at the news for this week. So, in the I don't care about news section, but it is news. Exploding Kittens is being turned into an animated TV series on Netflix. Now, I don't have a problem with the Exploding Kittens game. It is what it is. I played Exploding Minions. It's a game, and a lot of people really like it. That's fine. I just have high. I don't think it's going to work, and I'll tell you why. Have you seen the Emoji Movie? Have you seen almost anything based on a video game? I think Sonic the Hedgehog is the one shining example turned into something. Maybe this will work, but it's also a board game. So what's the theme of this?
So it's based on wasn't this all based on a comic strip to begin with, or that was
the comic strip is the oatmeal. It's just like a comic strip that puts out one-shot comics, like they just like annoying people you meet on an airplane and stuff. Okay. It's stuff like that. But this has a plot. God and the devil are sent to Earth to reside in the bodies of two house cats.
Okay, at least it made me laugh when I heard the plot.
They got these actors. You can see Lucy Liu here, and they got Abraham Lim and Ali Mackey, I think. I don't know how to pronounce that. Mm-hmm. The writer, he wrote shows like You're the Worst and The Muppets from 2015, which is definitively the worst Muppets show of all of them. That's the one where the Muppets were like in an office. They did like a documentary on the Muppets thing. It's terrible.
It's probably not going to be good. But again, I'm always at the positive side of these things. Like anytime you're talking about games in the public domain, that's great. By the way, the bigger news here is that Netflix just posted like its worst earnings ever, and they've lost $50 billion in market cap yesterday. Terrible.
So what you're saying is these two pieces of news are related? That's what you're saying?
I'm saying that this could change the world for Netflix and make it a good company again. It's not probably going to do that.
I love how he goes, I try to look at the positive side of things. On other news, Netflix is
in bad shape right now.
Do you have a lot of Netflix stock? All right.
Don't own it.
All right. Let's talk about games. Here we go. Luma Imports is bringing out Fairy Lights, or they're bringing this to America. Fairy Lights, this is from Sit Down. This is a press your luck thing where you're trying to complete sets of identical bulbs to score points. Had some pretty artwork on it. It looks like a very simple game.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's a speed game.
Oh.
Because it's Sit Down.
That would be great.
Sit down and play.
Nothing. No comment.
That's it. Sit down and play.
All right. I think it looks pretty. All right. Winter. This is a new area control board game. Although calling it a board game, looking at that picture, sure looks like a card game to me. But anyhow, there's a frozen lake, and you are pulling. Maybe there is a board. I don't know. I don't know what it is. This whole motif is attractive to me. The box and stuff. The cards look very, very abstract. I hope it's a good game, but the picture of the game itself there isn't doing anything for me.
I like the cover, like you said. I think it's a cool looking box. That's not a great looking prototype, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that's the prototype because I really hope that that's not final. That does not look enticing. I don't know.
It kind of looks like you're gonna be matching up the symbols on the cards, right?
I guess so.
Or putting them on, it does not look interesting.
Again, I like the Veer. I think the Veer puts out a lot of interesting stuff. Not always good stuff, but they're usually interesting things. This one does not look... I don't know anything, but it does not look good, and it does not look interesting. So we'll see.
All right. The next one, Regine, I think is how you would pronounce this. This is from their Pocket line from DeVere, which we've just gotten several games from that line. And you're betting on other people's hands.
Okay.
So that's kind of interesting. You want to have the best combination of cards. but you can bet on other people's hands to see if they have a good hand of cards. That concept sounds really interesting, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This could be good. This has some promise. I like the artwork for sure. I think it's a cool looking game. Very cartoony. That one I want to try.
In a simple yet interesting cover, we have Texas Showdown. I don't hate that cover, actually. I like the bullet going through the cards. This is a trick-taking game. The cards are numbered through 0 to 74, but divided into 6 suits. I like that one. And it's based on another game.
The other game is Texas Showdown.
Yeah,
actually.
So I'll give a little color to this Texas Showdown. I played it this week at the Gathering. Texas Showdown is the older game, and Rio is bringing it back. They got the license to bring it back as.
No, the original game was called Strife. I'm sorry. Then it was Texas Showdown.
Right, but I think they're changing the name on the new one.
Now it's going to be called Seas of Strife.
There we go. They wanted to remove what looks like, if you look at this, could be considered a poker themed game, and it's absolutely not. It has nothing to do with poker. It has nothing really to do with Texas, or it's a trick-taking or an anti-trick-taking game. You don't want to take tricks. It's actually quite good, and it plays with high player counts really well. So I really enjoyed this game that I just played, the original version or this version.
Yeah, I agree that if I saw this in a store, I would immediately assume it was poker's themed / played like poker.
Right.
Just because it has the word Texas in it. Texas is just tied to poker, really.
Yeah, Texas with cards, you're going to think poker. It's good. It's a really good game, and I 100% will be buying whatever it's called, the new version, because I really enjoyed this
Seas of
game.
Strife. And the artwork's being done by Beth Sobel, so that's going to be kind of cool. I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
Nice.
All right. In news that excited Mike DeLisio much, and I bet Z too, we have Before the Guests Arrive. This is from Sashi and Sashi. They made a game called In Front of the Elevators, Wind the Film, Let's Make a Bus Route. They have interesting titles, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yes. And they have interesting artwork as well. It's all by the same artist, by the same designers as well, Sashi. They do interesting outside-the-box type of games. Some of these are great games. Coffee Roaster is a solo game that is very distinct and unique. Let's Make a Bus Route is one of my absolute favorite flip and write or roll and write style games. And then this sounds to me like a little bit of a spin on the In Front of the Elevators game, which is about playing cards, lining them up, trying to have your people towards the front of the line so they can get in the elevator. This one then adds another dimension. It looks like you now are not just lining up cards, but you're making a whole grid. And this could be good.
I'm always excited for a Sashi and Sashi game. He does very good games. I think I mentioned this in the past. Sashi and Sashi is one person. And that's when I met him, he talks about it like Sashi from the past, Sashi from the future. His evolution as a person. So good stuff he does.
So you wanted to just mention that
Vasel and Vasel.
There you go. I'll call you Vasel and Vasel from now on, sir.
Okay, that's weird.
All right, in news that will probably get a lot of people excited. Probably the most popular game Renegade did last year was The Search for Planet X, or I guess 2 years ago. This is the sequel for that called The Search for Lost Species. So it's very similar as far as I can tell. You're on an island looking for a hex tile with lost species. So it's another deduction style game. I'm really torn on this cover though, because I get what they're trying to do here. It just doesn't look, there's something about it that looks off and I can't put my finger on it.
Well, maybe the animal it doesn't look like a real animal, but then that might be the thing. Maybe that is a potential
No, I don't think that's
species.
what it is. It's the leaves. I don't know. What do you think, Z?
I don't mind it. I think maybe the fact that things that are closer to the would-be camera are out of focus, which is normal. That's what they would look like. Maybe that's throwing you off because it's painted and it doesn't quite look right to you, maybe. I don't know. I don't mind it. I think this is an okay cover. I don't like the title. I know that species, as far as I know, is also the plural of species, but...
One species, 3 species. Yeah, it is.
So I don't like it. It sounds off. The
How
search
about
for
the search
lost
for
species.
Animal X?
So I played for the first time the Search for Planet X this week also, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was an extremely thematic game, and like really kind of like makes you feel like you're really out there searching for Planet X in our solar system.
That I'm going to argue strongly on. I like the game a lot. I think it's very logical, but there's no like this. If there's always two meteorites, there's something else in between them. That's not that's not thematic.
No. But that is the way that they. Without going deeply,
I know what you're saying. If you see this rotating, there must be a gravitational pull. I get
it's
that.
a gravitational thing. That's why I thought. I mean, and I'm really into space science, so I really enjoyed that game. So I assume this is going to be similar, but I hope different enough to make it something you'd want to play as well. But I'm just giving the plug for the idea that game was really good, in my opinion, and thematic. I hope this game is going to be as good.
I agree that Planet X is fantastic. So I am looking forward to this. I do like the theme of Search for Planet X more right off the bat. I mean, this one seems more marketable, right? And right now, this is a very popular sort of theme and cover and all of that. But the other one stood out to me, and being such a great game, that helped. So we'll see. I'll play it for sure. Just based on the other design, I will definitely play this.
Yeah, I didn't know what actually Search for Planet X was about until I actually sat down. I thought it was going to be a science fiction game. I just didn't know. I had never played it. Just didn't hit my radar. So playing it, it was a science game. This one obviously also is a science game.
All right, we have from Mind Clash Games. They just delivered Perseverance, their latest big giant game, so why not announce a new one? And that's Septima. This is designer Robin Hegedus. Players are leaders of a coven of witches trying to become the successor to the High Witch Septima. And I'm going to stop reading these things because there's more words I can't pronounce. But you're doing a whole bunch of things to become the best witch from a hand of 9 action cards. They are saying that this is their most approachable game, which is like, I don't know, a really expensive car company go, this is our cheapest car. Great, but what does that mean? Mind Clash games are fun, many of them, but they are very huge, gigantic, tons of rules. So even their most approachable game could still be a bear of a game.
Yeah, I normally do avoid their games. They're outside my comfort zone. This one I might like if it really is a little simpler. And looking at that cover, looking at the very few components here they're showing, unless there's a lot of hidden content and depth here, this does look approachable. I would try this out. Maybe. I got to see the rest of it.
Got to see a little more. It looks good.
Yeah.
All right. In news that will infuriate elitist collectors, Days of Wonder is releasing Ticket to Ride Poland. This was released at Essen in 2019 as a very small. Days of Wonder kind of like did a little favor working with another company, making this a Polish map for Ticket to Ride. It's just a single map, and to be silly, they called it 6.5. So it was between Map Pack 6 and Map Pack 7. When we mentioned, we got a copy of it. We mentioned, people were like, don't worry about it. Not a big deal. It's just one map of Poland. However, it's now going to be available for everyone. I still think it's numbered 6.5. Huh?
I don't like it, Tom. This means that my copy now of Map Pack 6.5 is not as rare. And I have a real problem with everybody being able to play something.
Yeah.
Okay? That's not okay.
Yeah. You're an elitist. Yeah.
Yes.
I do hope that this is a cheaper version of this, because it is a single map. I kind of like these better when there's a map on both sides. It's a single map. It has 35 tickets, 20 country cards, and a rule booklet. It seems like it's a pretty short game. It says it can be played in 30 to 60 minutes. 30 minutes is pretty short for Ticket to Ride.
So
but
it's you play with the base game. You just right. There's no difference, right? It's
you need.
Yeah.
The difference here is.
So why would it be a shorter game? It looks as many routes in it. Maybe the
No,
maybe
it
lots of
looks
shorter.
a little smaller. You know, we
I
got
got it.
this 6.5 thing those years ago, and then we never played it. The main reason I meant to play it at some point, but I wasn't going to review it because I didn't want to review something that nobody could get. But now we can, so we'll play this and let y'all know.
There's fewer long routes. That's why I think it will play faster, right? I only see 1-5 route on the whole board, something like that.
You're right. That's true.
Isn't there 6 space routes in Ticket to Ride?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's why it's probably going to play faster. I mean, that's a guess. That's
all right.
Designer cap on.
All I know is they better print somewhere on that box. Second worst edition. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Second and worst. This is 6 1/4. Just to be serious, this is 6 1/4. That should be on that
All
box.
right.
Poland 6 1/4.
From Next Move Games, all their games have to have 4 letters in their name, so the newest one is Maui. In this one, it looks like you're trying to get your best spot on the beach, which, by the way, is not the first time this theme has been done. I think this is the 3rd game I've seen about finding the best spot on a beach. But that being said, I do tend to like Next Move games. They're usually very simple and easy to play. Other examples, what were the other ones in the past? We have Reef.
Reef, Azul.
Yeah, Azul is probably the most famous of this line. I don't know.
Yes.
I mean, I'm interested in it because of Next Move games. Other than that, it looks okay.
This group of designers, with Sebastian Pauschen being the best known one, they are a little hit and miss for me. Like, this team put out Botanic, which was one of my very best games from, I don't know, a few months ago, last year maybe. It's a great 2-player game. And then they did The Way of the Bear, which I really didn't like. And Sebastian Pauschen is the guy behind Ispahan. He's the designer of Ispahan. So he's, like, when it works for me. And every now and then, it really doesn't work. So we'll see about this one. I don't think that Maui here has any bits that are as sort of blinged out, at least from what I've seen, as the coral and reef or the cool tiles in Azul. It looks cardboardy, like there's more of that than some of their other designs. And that's a hook. I mean, having really cool plastic, Bakelite bits is a neat hook. So we'll see. Maybe those shells that you can see there just below the artwork, maybe those are plastic. Ooh, I don't know. We'll see.
Looks mostly cardboardy. I'm interested
right?
because I like Hawaii. So that's my interest in this.
Okay. There's beaches all over the world, too, though.
I like Hawaii a lot.
All right. Love Letter has some news. It's 10 years. It's the 10th anniversary. So ArcLight, the original publisher, is doing 3 new editions. So the first one is just a Love Letter 2nd edition, which is it's the base game, but there's 16 new cards. Interested in that? Original artist. Then there is a big box coming out where they say it includes everything from all the different love letters. Now, I don't know what that means exactly. Like, for example, it would have a mechanism that's used in the Infinity Gauntlet and Batman, but I don't know if those IPs are in the box. I don't know. It's just a big box.
I'm gonna bet they won't be, and it'll just be a means of playing the Batman mechanic, which is, I think, the best one of the love letters. At least that's the best one I've played.
Yeah.
Have you played the Infinity Gauntlet one?
I have not played Infinity Gauntlet, so
that one's the most different. I like that one very much.
Cool.
Yeah, it's supposed to be everything, all the variants, basically.
Yeah.
So mechanically, it's all supposed to be in one box.
Yeah.
And then you can pick and choose whatever you want to play. It also, I think, this is also being crowdfunded, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really? I think I think Love Letter's genius. Obviously, it created a genre of gaming, the micro game. So I'm like 100% all in on this kind of thing. And it's a micro game. Even if you put everything into it, how much is it going to cost? 50? I mean, really, it's not. It'll be a cheap buy-in on a crowdfunding platform, I would think. Where does it say crowdfunding? I didn't see it in the news here. Did you hear that somewhere?
I think I read that.
Okay.
Actually, it does say crowdfunding here. Go to the next slide.
Oh, okay.
Then the third one that's coming out They're basically saying it's a story-driven game. They're not telling us much about it at all, but it sounds like it might have a campaign or a legacy. So basically, folks, this is what you do. Make a game. If it's popular, make a big box, and then make a legacy version. Money.
It's bank, baby.
Got it. 10 for 10. 10 for 10 big box. 10 legacy plus.
Now, this is actually...
Somewhere...
I gotta say, this is actually interesting to have like a legacy version of this game. I don't know how they'll do it exactly, but
it might not be that. We're just speculating.
I see that. So it doesn't say that they're gonna do it. Okay, I got you.
It's some sort of story-driven something. It might be a campaign. It might be legacy. It might just be you open a page and read like the princess is now upset. Shuffle in this card instead of the number one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Love letter legacy pretty easy. I love you. I get the letter. I'm like, nope. All right. Somewhere, Sam Healy is having a mind melt because Game One Games has announced Tiny Epic Vikings. 10 out of 10. Yes, so another smash hit. I'll make the prediction. Every single one of these does so well on Kickstarter from Scott Arms, and yeah, you can go read more about how this plays.
It's gonna do bank.
Zee is excited about our next thing. Zee, tell us about this because I don't know anything about it.
Stellaria is the new Omniverse game that was just announced, and this is from the same designer, obviously in the same line as Onirim, as all the other ones that no one really knows as well. Onirim being the big hit, the one that's got the app, the one that came out first, and many people have played. Some people, not including Tom Vasel, even by the right rules. So, Stellaria here.
Oh, my word.
Stellarian is the sixth entry, and they're talking about it being a deck management game where you have 8 decks of cards, and I guess you have to put together different combinations as you look up into the night sky in this dreamlike world and combine the cards you need. They've been doing dice for a little bit. The last 2 included dice. One was a roll and move, actually, with some twists on that, and one was a Yahtzee-esque solitaire game. Solo or 2. These are always for a solo player or for 2 players. So this one's back to just a card game. They haven't done one of those in a while. This designer hasn't. And then the other piece of news bundled in with this is that it's from not the same publisher as all the other ones are. They've all been Z-Man games. This is from a company called Impatience, which I believe might be the designer's company, or at least he's working closely with them. And I believe they might be reprinting the previous games in this same line. So not only are we going to get reprints of all the other ones, but a new entry in this series, which has been dormant for a while now. Very exciting. I do like these games a lot.
They get his kid to do the artwork. I'm just...
Oh.
Come on. I mean... maybe they're going for obviously our childlike look, but the box.
I think they're going for a childlike innocence in the look. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just.
They're all from the same artist. I forget her name, but this is the art style for the whole thing, and I totally get that it's a love it or hate it look. Actually, I neither love it nor hate it. It doesn't really bother me, but But yes, I definitely know that it's divisive.
All right. In very divisive news, I think, yesterday there was a big 25th anniversary stream for Twilight Imperium from Fantasy Flight people who know how to put on the best live streams. I'm sorry if you read that as a put down. I meant it as such.
You meant it as such.
Oh, they're the most boring live streams I've ever seen. And they're not the most boring, but they're pretty boring. Anyhow, they announced the Twilight Imperium roll and write called Twilight Inscription. Mm-hmm. And so as far as I can tell, because they didn't really talk a lot about it, they're being very vague. And this is like the best shot from their very glary picture. That each player is going to get 4 boards here. And it's like the biggest roll and write ever made. So that might be cool. I don't know. I'm I'm trying to have an open mind to this. Like, oh, it might be a cool big roll and write. I'm just trying to figure out who the Venn diagram is for here. Like, I don't think roll and write people were going, man, I wish there was a Twilight Imperium version of these games. And I don't think the Twilight Imperium people waiting for an announcement about a new version or a new expansion were like, roll and write, that's just what I wanted. I'm trying to figure this out. It's such a weird one.
I think, I'm in the Venn diagram for this. I'm a big fan of Twilight Imperium in general. I'm a big fan of roll and writes, but I don't necessarily think you need a perfect intersection of those things. If you're a Twilight Imperium fan, right, you kind of have to be that, I think, or at least, I like epic space games. If you're a fan of that, and then
you're actually saying the actual Venn diagram, but continue on.
And then you can't play that game all the time, of course, because who can put the 4 or 5, 8-hour game on the table very often? You then can say, hey, let me play this epic but shorter game where I get the experience of going out into the galaxy, building my ships, building technology, speeding up Tom Vasel ships, things like that. So I'm all over this. I mean, will it be a great game? That, of course, remains to be seen. I'm all over the concept of doing a game like this. That's all.
You know what else remains to be seen? Whether it'll be a short game, which you're also assuming. We don't know how long this is going to be. I'm
assuming it's not, after I heard everything that Tom said and looking at the 4 different pieces that you're going to have in front of you, right? You're going to have 4 different boards, pieces of paper. I'm thinking it's going to be a long game, but not Twilight Imperium long, right? And I don't know. What's a long game to you and me, right? If we 2.5 hours, okay, it's kind of a long 2.5 hours. I'm just saying
3 hours or plus is long to me.
Yeah, but when you go out and you sit down to play a game, you kind of put in your head, well, what kind of experience do you want? You want a short experience? You're going for that half-hour type game, or even less, or maybe a little more. But you're playing something that's going to take a while. 2 hours plus, a big Euro or something like that. When you're playing Twilight Imperium and that genre, you're talking epic level, crazy amount of time, right? 3, 4, 5 or more. I don't think it's going to be that, but it's certainly, as you kind of said, it could be in that 2 hour without a doubt. We have to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah, I don't know. I know they don't make short games. I cannot remember the last time they made a short game. Even when you think they might, because they're reworking something.
I'm looking at these boards now. It says warfare, industry, navigation, and expansion. So I don't even know how those things exactly play into.
Again, this might be the best roll and write. I'm just suspicious of roll and write games that are huge anyway. They don't. If they're that big, I'm usually like, then why is it not just a board game? That's my concern. So, hey, again, I am willing to be surprised instead. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But
yep.
All righty, well, that is it for the news.